Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Wednesday, December 4th. We got a 6-game slate to go over, and we're going to dive right into it. I am Tyler Wiemann, your host at FlatTyler83 on your Twitters and your DFS sites. Now, let's get into it. But before we do, come join us at LineStar if you are not already a member. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do. You get all the props, all the DFS, all the tools, one low price. And jumping straight into business, 6-gamer, starting with point guard. Highest owned point guard on the slate is Mike Conley, 4,800, 41% owned. At 4,800, he makes a lot of sense. His minutes are creeping up, although last game only 22, but it was a blowout. Outside of that, 33, 32, 30, 37. With minutes, he does have some upside, so makes some sense against the Clippers to want to go there. The only thing is that he is rarely has a real ceiling. His normal is mid-20s. Maybe he hits 30, so 6x, absolutely a possibility. 7, 8x maybe start to be a little bit hard. I would say 8x plus starts to be a little hard. 7x at his price could definitely happen. Next, we got Damian Lillard, 32% owned. You got to like him against the Hawks. It's just a great spot for him. Still no Middleton, so they're a solid ceiling. He's put up a 50 and a 60 burger in the last couple days. Has 4 60 burgers on the year. 8,900 makes some sense to chase that upside here. He is going high owned, though, so, temper expectations as far as how much it could help you in your lineups. Now, I would expect that some ownership sees some changes as Austin Reeves was recently announced out. Maybe D'Angelo Russell becomes higher owned because of that. He played 34 minutes starting the other night, putting up 31 at 5,900. He's a little bit interesting, even versus a tough Heat team. It does look like I might have a decent amount of Lakers tonight, so I am absolutely interested in Russell. And as of now, I am getting higher than that 19%. Now, pivot-wise, James Harden, 9,800. How can you lay off him right now? He is balling. And if you look at our team defense tool, over the last 10 games, Minnesota has been giving it up to the point guard, and Harden's playing really well and playing as a point guard. So I think it makes some sense to go here, and people are a little skittish to go. But hey, dude's had a 63, a 64, and a slew of 50s over the last week or 2 weeks. So I'm in it to win it. Next, Tyler Hero, 7,500. I like the Lakers, and if the Lakers really get there, we're going to probably need somebody on the Heat side to go there as well. Tyler Hero is one of those guys that I like. He does have a solid ceiling. If he gets hot, he can really push the game environment in this one. So I like Hero. Next, Jared McCain. No Paul George, no Embiid. He's likely to be starting probably at shooting guard with Maxey at point guard. With Maxey being there, his ceiling isn't quite as high, but if this man gets hot from 3, there's no telling what he can do. He hit 6. He's hit 6 in a couple games so far this year, and Magic 20th versus reserves. It's a decent spot. It's a low-scoring game, though. That is the only worry, but I think Maxey and McCain are both fairly interesting there. Getting over to point guard on DraftKings, we got Derek White, 6,600, 35% owned. If you're playing Derek White or some Boston guys, you probably want to have a Detroit guy as well, just because the only way Boston's players really get there, unless there's just one guy that totally takes over the game, is if Detroit stays in this game into, the fourth quarter a little bit. If it's less than a 10-point lead into the fourth, there's likely a Detroit guy, coming along in this game with one of the Celtics. But Derek White is in a decent spot. Don't mind getting a little bit of him. I think 35% owned is a little bit crazy, though. 4,900 is too cheap for D'Lo. when he's going to start and probably play 30-plus minutes. Definitely interested in some D'Lo. Drew Holiday at 5K. Definitely some interest in him, but he's kind of like Mike Conley this year where minutes haven't totally been there. Very consistent, high 20s, but just doesn't give you those 30-plus very often. I know it's in there, and the possibility for him to go nuts is there, but they've been careful with his minutes. He's been dealing with this knee injury. I don't love the outlook for him. Speak of the devil himself, Mike Conley's right there. Pretty much same goes for him as we've talked about it. Now, shooting guard on FanDuel, Quentin Jackson, 3,900, 37% owned. He could start today. If he does, he's a little interested, but his minutes are just absolutely all over the place. Really need to make sure he's starting before you want to play him. But, I mean, even if he is, it's hard to really know the minutes. Played 16 as a starter, played 32, 22, 22, 27. So, there's definitely variance in him, and at high ownership, I'd probably likely go somewhere else. Anthony Edwards, 8,800, 25% owned. I'm fine with some AE, some Ant, but I don't absolutely love this matchup versus Chris Dunn and the Clippers here. Dunn's a solid defender. Clippers been good versus shooting guard, and Ant is struggling for the first time this year a little bit. Jalen Suggs, 6,400, 17% owned. My issue here is there's just not a whole lot of ceiling for him. He can occasionally hit 40s, yes, but most likely outcome is high 20s. Most likely outcome is a Mike Conley or Drew Holiday type game, and you're paying, $1,400, $1,600 more for that, and I just don't love that spot. Pivot-wise, Tyler Hero, we talked about. McCain, we talked about. And God, good old Connect 4, West Side Connection, Dalton Connect. He's 5,400. He likely starts this game. There's no Austin Reeves, so he could pick up some extra minutes. He played 28 in a blowout last time. I think that if the game stays close, if he's hitting, I think he could get up to like 34 minutes. And if he's playing 32, I'm real interested, or 34, I'm real interested in him, because if he gets hot, he is, over a fantasy per minute guy, while usually he's only 0.83. So I'm interested. I'm going to have some of him, and I'm surprised he's going so low owned. Duncan Robinson, 4,100. Look, he is very scary click, but if he gets hot, he may play 28, 30 minutes, and he can score the basketball. He's not going to give you much else, so that 3 needs to be falling, but I'm a little interested in some Duncan Robinson. I will watch news throughout the day, though, because if Tyler Rozier slides back into the starting lineup, I'm off Duncan Robinson altogether. Shooting guard on DraftKings, Quentin Johnson, Derek White, Bogdanovich, 4,400. 4,400 just too cheap for me. He's playing 25 minutes a game. It's going to be soon that he starts regularly getting 26, 28, and we know he has a ceiling. So I like some Bogdan. Jaylen Brown, 8,200. It's kind of with all the Boston guys. I'm interested in them. There's a big time ceiling in this matchup, but I think I gotta attach some Pistons guys with him if I'm gonna play them. I mean, we got a 14.5 point spread. It's just like yesterday with Cleveland having a 16-point spread. The Detroit guys are gonna have to get there if they're keeping this game close. So that's how I'm playing it. I'm trying to attach some Detroit guys with those Boston guys if I'm going to play them, especially when they're at higher ownership, because that will negate some of that ownership as well. Now, small forward on FanDuel. We got LeBron James, 27% owned. Ant and Friends Wagner. So it is pay up city at small forward on FanDuel. LeBron obviously looks good. He is going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more and possibly play 36 minutes instead of 34 without Austin Reeves. He's definitely interesting. I'm fine going there. He's been nowhere as good this year as years prior. Only 1.29 fantasy per minute over the last 20, where he's been typically, in the higher 1.3s. So I don't mind having some LeBron. There's more of a floor than there's ever been, or lower of a floor than there's ever been, but that ceiling of 60 plus is still absolutely there, and I don't mind getting there. However, it is a tough matchup for him. He has struggled in the past versus Miami a little bit. Ant 8,800, we talked about him. Franz Wagner, dude's still putting up numbers, but I do think 9,600 is a bit expensive for him. I'm fine getting a little bit, but I'm not going to 21%. Rui, 4,900. I am interested in Rui. He's going to probably play a couple more minutes as the rotations are a little bit smaller. He gets over 30 minutes, and I like his chances of, 6x. And we've seen a couple games of high 30s, low 40s. If he can do that, it would be great in this spot here. Another one, Jimmy B, 7,600 for Jimmy B. We know the thing with Jimmy Butler is he has to be engaged to really put up some points, and he can do it versus anybody. It's just in the regular season, he gets a little lackadaisical, a little unfocused, but what we have seen versus the Lakers for years now, he gets ready to play. 45, 45, 57, 58, 50, 42. He's done well versus them in the past, and I like the spot for him to keep it going today. I bet he's going to be engaged. He is questionable, though, so we got to watch injury news. But if he's in, very interested. If he's out, then, Tyler Hero and Bam start to look real interesting there. Duncan Robinson, we talked about. Shooting or small forward on DK, Jackson, Bog, Jaylen Brown, talked about them all. Benedict Mathurin, I'm all right if you want to get here. It's an okay spot. His price is a little up there, but I'm still fine with it. Power forward on FanDuel. We got LeBron, we got Franz Wagner, and Mo Wagner. Got to bring up Mo Wagner a little bit. So Goga was the late scratch last game. I would expect he is out again if he missed yesterday's game and was a late scratch. If that's the case, Mo Wagner played 28 minutes last night. We know Wendell Carter Jr. is not going to play a ton of minutes. Mo Wagner has a ceiling. If he gets extra minutes, he does well. But minutes are a little scary here. We don't know if he's going to get 17, 18, or if he could get up to 26. So I like the play. 19% owned isn't too much. I would actually expect him to come a little under, as people will be scared to play him. But I think he's in an interesting spot, and I don't mind getting there. Rui, we talked about. AD, 11K AD. He's one of my favorite plays on this slate. Put up 77 versus Miami last year, but then also had a rough game. I don't mind going against him. Bam is too small for him, and I think AD can definitely get up there, especially in this season, how the usage works. Without Austin Reeves, he is a 1.6 fantasy per minute guy this season, and then, it's not a bad matchup versus the Heat as well. Power forward on DK, Jarvis Walker, 3,800, 28% owned. He put up, he's been playing mid-20s in minutes. He can get there, but it's a high variance spot, and I typically like playing these type of plays at low ownership, not high ownership. LeBron, we covered. We like him. Naz Reid, 4,600. That's too cheap for the ceiling, so absolutely understand why people are going there. Never know when one of those 40-point eruptions is coming from him, and he happens every once in a while. I'm fine with sprinkling in some Naz Reid. And let's get to the center spot on FanDuel. Mo Wagner, 19% owned. Bam Adebayo, 8,200, 18% owned. Bam's versus the Lakers. Lakers have been poor versus center for years. I don't mind going to some Bam. There's been a huge ceiling with him versus the Lakers in years prior. Now, if Jimmy B's out, he is pretty much a lock. If Jimmy B's in, I'm going to have some Bam, but sprinkling him in a little bit, not going super heavy. Rudy Gobert, 6,800, 17% owned. The thing here is the minutes have been there lately. He's not producing like he has in years prior, but I would expect there's going to be a game soon where he really gets it going, gets that 40 plus. It's not the easiest spot versus the Clippers, but I'm fine sprinkling some in. He did well versus them last year. It's just depends. Has he lost a step or not? Maybe that's the case, that he's not doing well, or just the team as a whole isn't really functioning. And AD is my only pivot here. And Draftkings center, Bam, LeBron, Gobert, Naz Reid, all look pretty interesting. I'm fine with them all. That'll do it for us today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great day. Good luck. Let's make some money, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.